All right, everybody, we are here and we're going to have a look at the Illuvium Arena dev blog about mastering the Gauntlet. I don't think it's really about mastering the Gauntlet. If you want to master Gauntlet, you actually have to check out my guides on my channel, but it's more about the upcoming features for the Gauntlet and for the Arena in general. Gauntlet will be the driving factor how Arena will look like. Because, for example, Survival is going to get redesigned to fit Gauntlet and so on. Ascendant probably as well. So Gauntlet is our main staple game in the Arena game mode in the strategy side of things for Illuvium. Mastering the Gauntlet. Welcome, Rangers. Many of you have already run Gauntlet, experiencing the excitement of its unfinished form. Your feedback has been invaluable, helping us refine the game's pacing and strategic depth. From your request, we've been listening closely and we're excited to share the results of these efforts. So basically, they're listening to the feedback of the community. They also are very smart themselves, game design wise, and they know a lot of features are missing. And here they're showing some of the main features that are coming that are really gonna be so important for Gauntlet to take it to the next level, to get very close to where we want to be, to the standard that has been set by TFT, Teamfight Tactics from Riot Games, which is industry standard for the auto battler genre. All right, so first up, we got region selection. This is something very close to TFT, where the whole team, all 8 players, they vote on a map. So basically, you can vote, for example, between these 3 maps. 7 out of 8 players go onto the Brightland Steppes because they want to have +5 drone HP every 7 rounds. They want to have healing applied to their drone every 7 rounds, making this match last longer because everybody has a bigger HP pool. For example, 7 out of 8 go there, 1 goes over here. 3 composite synergy augments. So you're gonna get 3 composite synergy augments, which could be Toxic and Fighter and whatever it is, right? No, composite, it wouldn't be Fighter, it would be Toxic, Slayer, and freaking Behemoth. And you get 3 random ones, and this is gonna very much change the game as well for everybody. Everybody has different 3 composite synergy augments, and then you have to play around those that you get. And the one guy sitting on this one wins actually the 1 out of 8 chance to decide the map. And now everybody is gonna be getting those 3 composite synergy augments. And this way, every match should feel even more unique because every match you're gonna have this unique rule set applied to the whole lobby. We've seen this work out really well in TFT, and it's a great addition to us as well. Then we got weapons with customization. So basically what that means is you select now a weapon. You don't have to find them anymore. So we've heard you loud and clear regarding weapons and suits. It's too much all at once and players find it overwhelming. So basically, when playing TFT, I never thought, hey, I need more decisions to be made. How do I say that? When playing TFT, I never thought I needed to make more decisions. Like, I never thought, oh, this is boring. I have so little decisions to be made. Give me another shop with weapons and everything else. Like, basically it was double the decisions we had to make. We had to manage weapons, we had to manage suits, similar to what we had to do with Illuvials already, and we had a second shop for it. There was just too much, and it's really nice to see they are reverting this, and now you just select one of the weapons you are presented. By the way, all of this is work in progress still. It's concept art. It's not actually the final form how it's going to look like, but it's going to be very similar to this. So for example, here you get 3 weapons right here. You get a Fighter, you get a Bulwark, and you get a Scion, all with their respective affinities. And yeah, this is going to change again. Every game you're going to get a different selection of weapons. You can you have some agency to decide which weapon you're going to go for, but it's not going to be the same every time. It's not going to feel like a flowchart, like a spreadsheet that you're following. So for example, you're going to pick the Singularity Rod, which gives you Scion and Nature. This is, by the way, note, there's no stage 1, no tier. It's just going to be a weapon, and you're just going to decide to choose which class, basic class, and which basic affinity you want to have. We're going to talk about why that is in a second. And then later, for example, if you choose this one or that one, you have some rogue-like elements where throughout the game, you're going to have the option to increase, to buff up, to boost your weapon with different effects. For example, you could take damage reduction or generate a shield when effects end, or more HP. So this is a bulwark weapon, a tank weapon, and then the effects that you are able to choose, the boosts, are going to be tailored around bulwark. So if you take the tank weapon, your range is going to become more and more tanky. You take Scion, your abilities are going to get better, and if you take Fighter, your fighting is going to get better. In addition to that, we're going to get back bonding. And this is one of the biggest news that we have had in the recent months, I would say, because everybody loved how bonding works. I don't know if you have been there back in the days, but when we had Ascendant, we actually were able to bond our Ranger with an Illuvial. It's a really good picture right here. If our Ranger is a Fighter and Fire, So for example, we took this sword right here, and then we bond our firefighter ranger with the water bulwark Rocco right here. Our ranger will then be steam plus behemoth, because steam is water plus fire, and behemoth is bulwark plus fighter. So basically, you can then create any composite affinities, any composite classes you want by bonding your ranger with the right unit. You could also go for, you can do anything. And this is amazing because it unlocks all the affinities to be played, because your ranger at turn 2, at turn 3 will already have 2 composite synergies. With that comes a lot of balance, right? Now all the composite synergies will be too strong because they're so easy accessible now, and it just makes it so good because now you have so many different strategies. You can play around behemoth, steam. Every single composite synergy is now available with bonding coming back, and I think this is a huge move from Illuvium because they actually said, hey, we made a mistake, we're gonna revert it, and we're gonna go back to bonding, screw the new weapon system. They put a lot of work in the weapon, and I admire this about Illuvium, that they are actually able to see their mistakes and revert them and go back. Because in gaming development, one of the biggest problems that we have seen throughout the years is if there is a problem made, which will happen, but then the dev team, the studio is too proud or whatever it is to actually see those mistakes and revert them and go back to what has been working in the past and what the community wants. So big respect to Illuvium, to seeing their mistake, hearing the community, and actually reverting the weapon system to bonding, making all composite synergies accessible. Love it. Then we have drone augments. These are the items that you get. You select them throughout the game. The problem has been, it has been very black and white. Either you find the perfect augment and you have a way higher chance of winning, or you don't find the perfect augment and you have a way higher chance at losing. So just by this RNG, by this random factor, if you get the good or the bad augment, it would have a big impact on your gameplay, which is not so nice. We want to have a lot of player skill expression, a lot of player agency, and a lot of skill expression, basically. What we're going to do with drone augments, it's not going to be you're going to find your final augment. It's going to be like TFT, where you have drone components. So for example, you get a stone and a leaf, and then you can combine the stone with the leaf to make a specific drone augment. And if you combine the stone with a stick, you get a different drone augment, and so on. Drone augments are going to provide powerful enhancements for your drone, shaping the way you approach the game. So this ties into this roguelike features that we've seen above, where every game will feel different and you're gonna pick up power-ups throughout the game. These range from increased drone health and damage to economic boosts like better odds for high-tier Illuvials, or even specific uplinks with Illuvials that improve their performance or change them entirely. So we have seen also something similar in TFT, where you had your champions and your heroes that you could select before the game. These choices will arise at regular intervals during the early and middle stages of the game, where you select one of 3 options presented. So very similar to how the weapons and the armor and stuff like this works. You have a selection of drone augments, you select what you want, and it's gonna make each game feel unique, and you're gonna have to actively play around all those things that get presented to you, and then you have to choose during the fight. Which means, because we have so many choices to be made right now, there's a lot more skill expression, because oftentimes skill gets expressed by not making a mistake. And the more choices you have to make, the more likely it is the weaker player is going to make the wrong choices more often, making them lose. It's not about RNG. It's not about who gets lucky, who gets the right augment. It's about choosing the right things, making the right choices over and over and over again. We haven't had that many small choices like in other games, which adds up to a lot of the skill expression from other games, and I'm really happy to see this. These replace legendary augments, which is very good because legendary augments, the legendary items, have been the most RNG, the most black and white. If you find the good ones, you win. If you find the shitty ones, you lose. So it's really good that this replaced the legendary augments. Rest assured, legendary augments are still a part of the game, and we'll dive into those soon. All right, never mind. Legendary augments are still in there, but the whole way that augments will work is going to be different. You're not going to constantly find the best or the worst augments. We're going to go to that in a second. So draft system with catch-up, we have the famous carousel from TFT right here. So basically what this does is, depending on how much HP you get, if you are the lowest place in that lobby at the moment, you're going to have the first pick at the items, which kind of means if you're doing poorly or if you are on a lose streak, if you don't have a lot of HP, you're going to have the best chances of finding the best items. items or whatever it is the carousel offers. So basically, if you're on a huge win streak, 100 HP, you haven't lost a single round yet, you're gonna be the last one to choose the item in the carousel, which means it counters a little bit that win streak and running away with the game, and it kind of balances this a little bit out. Like, it's really good addition to the whole win streak and lose streak system, where win streaking has a little bit of a drawback with the introduction of the carousel. Then we have suit augments. This is very similar to weapons, where again you pick your suit for your ranger, you don't have to roll for it anymore. So yeah, it's going to be very similar to weapons, and you grab this one, which is going to give you at 70%, 30% lifesteal, like some bonus effects for your ranger, or you refresh to find another one. So really nice to see that we don't have to roll for them anymore, giving us another layer of shop and of odds and of finding and managing those resources, but we just pick what we like. And yeah, there's still a little bit of RNG involved. You need that for every game, but you can refresh for just 1 gold in this example right here. Late game, Leviathan combat. This sounds really interesting. So we're gonna get PvP battles in line with the MMO, where we're gonna battle Leviathan monsters. Leviathans are those huge, badass looking either dragon or monster slugs or whatever it is. It's just a house of a big enemy that we're gonna raid together with many people in the MMO, or in this case, fight them in the Gauntlet, which is kind of crazy. I can't really imagine how this works, but instead of an enemy, there's basically a huge monster sitting there, and I hope you're gonna fight it with other players. So it would be cool if the battle board gets bigger, and I'm here with my 2 homies, and us 3, we build a combined board that's gonna fight against the big ass enemy Leviathan. So I hope this is a PvE multiplayer battle in the Gauntlet. I'm looking forward to it. And yeah, we have an AMA coming up with Aaron. There is a thread in the Discord where you can ask your questions for the game designer, the game director of Illuvium Gauntlet, Aaron Warwick, also co-founder. I'm gonna have an AMA with him, so ask your questions in the Discord. And this is one thing that I want to dive into more, because yeah, they didn't really give us too much info on this yet. And then lastly, or not lastly yet, itemization. Basically, it means the items that we have right now, we call them augments. They are broken into components. So instead of finding the perfect or the worst augment, similar to legendary augments and similar to weapons and suits and everything that we had so far, instead of finding the final form, you're finding a lot of components for them. And then you can combine those components to make your perfect augments, which means, again, we're gonna have many small decisions to be made, where there is a lot of skill expression coming in, because a weaker player will make the wrong decision when it comes to itemization. Maybe you have, for example, 4 components, but those 4 don't combine to the perfect augments for your team. But sometimes you need to take a not perfect augment, a subpar augment, and just get a little bit more strength or a little bit more power level onto your board. And sometimes you can afford to wait till later when you have more components and actually can make your perfect items. I hope this makes sense. So basically, there's just all the augments, all the items are split down into components. So you're gonna get a lot of components, and then you can combine them to your favorite items. This will give everybody more player agency. It will give you more decisions to make, and it will make it easier to kind of go for whatever you want to go for. You're not locked into the randomness of the augments you get. You can actually have a decision. Do I want to go for those items, that's going to fit my team, and so on. So really cool. This is one of the biggest things that's going to change so much the quality of the Gauntlet, because yeah, it's just going to give us so much more agency. And all of these features, they're all based around more player agency, more decision making, and more skill expression in the game, which is ultimately one of the most important things in any strategy game, that you feel like your skill makes a difference. Of course, there's going to be RNG in there, same like in poker, but poker, you still have a lot of decisions to make. So then we have additional features, Team Planner, which I'm also very excited about, because TFT took them years to get an in-game planner into the game. So basically, you select your Illuvials that you want to go for. You don't have to do this, but it's like an extra feature. You can plan your team, you can organize your team. And then once you play the game, all those Illuvials that you selected, they're going to be highlighted. So it's just going to take a little bit of micromanaging and a little bit of like thinking away from you, where you can just think about your composition early on, you put it in the team planner, and then it will highlight the Illuvials for you. You don't have to rethink, oh, do I need this, do I need that? You just do it once, and then it's going to be highlighted for you, and you can also change this during the fight and so on. So this is one of the biggest quality of life features that TFT has introduced, and it's really nice to see that that Illuvium is really trying to push for that standard that has been proven to work with TFT and get onto their level, at which point we're going to start marketing, tournaments, leaderboard rewards, and Illuvium is going to try their best with all their marketing budget, with not all of it. We're going to save some for MMO Lite, but yeah, we're going to try our best effort to attract mainstream gamers, to attract TFT players, and to attract the Web3 audience once we have all these features in and the game is polished and ready to go. I'm so freaking excited. It's gonna be amazing. We're also gonna get match scouting like we should, right? Everybody's just waiting for this. Game doesn't work without this, and it's already kind of working, which is weird, right? Like the game is already good without all these features, which I think says a lot about the quality of the game. So scouting, basically, you can see what your enemies do. So you know, hey, all of these are going for rogues, so I'm going to go for fighter and counter them. For example, you can actually scout your opponents, see what they're doing, and make strategic decisions based on that. And the closing thoughts, Gauntlet is designed to challenge a player's strategic thinking at every stage. From your first morphopod combat, nice, the PvE rounds are going to get morphopod rounds where we fight little bugs. That's pretty cool. Right through until your very last Leviathan battle. Every round provides, so maybe Leviathan battles are the PvE battles later on. We've seen that in TFT2, where later on in the match, the PvE rounds are actually boss fights that are not that easy to beat. Because otherwise PvE rounds are kind of useless because it's just a free win. But it's kind of cool if they're a little bit challenging. So we might have Leviathan battles in every Gauntlet match at later stages. And we gonna have morphopod fights versus the insects in the early PvE stages where it's still free wins. These new features promise to keep every match fresh and engaging. More than ever before, you'll be able to cook up some truly spectacular teams. We hope to put them in your hands. I'm so excited about all this. We hope to put them in your hands soon so that you can test them out and help us make Gauntlet even better. Keep your strategy sharp and your decisions sharper. Glory is yours to seize. I mean, we've said it all. I think these are amazing changes which put us up to standard with TFT. We put us up to par with the market leader Teamfight Tactics, and we already have many features that TFT doesn't have. I don't know, we have a unique selling proposition still with like the weapons and the ranger, which is unique, and we have hyperactive, we have ownership of Illuvials. Like we have TFT, which is connected to an open world Pokemon game and has all these extra features and insanely good graphics compared to TFT. And yeah, we have a lot of unique selling propositions. Once we get to their level, we're gonna outperform them in many ways, which is crazy to say, right? But it is true, I think, and I'm really excited for the future with Gauntlet. And yeah, that's kind of it. I'm sweating my ass off.
All the roads we travel, the journey of our lives. Take another picture before we say goodbye. Arm in arm we're standing side by side.